Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today I have two special cars. And by special, I mean the hottest hatchbacks in the market today. Well, one of them is a hatchback, one is a sedan or a 5-door. So let's get after it. Let's look at both models. So today what we have is a 2023 Honda Civic Type R in Boost Blue. Looks pretty sweet to me. Over here, we have a 2024 Acura Integra Type S. For Drive Culture, we want to talk about what you guys want to hear, and so let's get after it and let's check out the details, starting with the CTR. Come on. So FL5 is the 11th generation Civic Type R platform. And yes, it's quite a departure from what Honda did with the FK8, the 10th generation Civic and Civic Type R. Now, internally, we also had to think about what to do next because the styling was aggressive, we'll call it that. But there was people that loved it and maybe others that had a different opinion. So with the FL5 generation, we really came out with some awesome, smooth styling, European flair that just kind of toned it down, but still made it aggressive. So, you know, tell us down in the comments, do you like the FL5 better than the FK8? I'm gonna say I do. And that's tough because I actually really like the way the FK8 looked. But let's talk about some of the design details. So Honda, even a Civic, you got LED headlights. They look awesome at night. You got this nice kind of daytime running lamp on both sides. The Type R has a specific grille, different than the standard 5-door Civic. Of course, you have that signature red Honda logo. I mean, come on, that's for Type Rs. If you don't have a Type R, don't put the red badge on your car. I know there's people that do that, right? But Type R, it's also actually like a black font with the red R, looks awesome. And of course, this gaping air intake down below that feeds the intercooler up into this engine. Now, tell us what you think, right? So they carried the front lip up into the front fascia. These aren't ducts though. They kind of look like it, but admittedly, they're just a design cue. Now, what is functional and cool is this heat extractor in the hood. So we'll take a look inside the engine bay later, but basically all that airflow that's coming up through the grille goes up. There's an actual guide here underneath the hood, extracts that heat, that air out the top of the hood, and truly helps for performance because there's a 2-liter VTEC turbo 4-cylinder engine. Makes 315 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Now we know Civic Type R is 6-speed manual only. So if you don't know how to roll your own gears, I'm sorry, you gotta go buy a DCT competitor. But it is one of the best manual transmissions in the business. Now, let's go over here and take a look at the Integra Type S. Now, my car here, there's a couple small differences. Admittedly, my car is wrapped in paint protection film and it's a matte finish. So if you're looking at it going, hey, that looks a little different, forgive me. That's the kind of one and only mod I've done to my car. You might see that the roof is also wrapped in black. But outside of that, performance-wise, everything else, I'm keeping my car stock, right? I love the way it drives. I love the way both cars drive. And so for me, I'm not touching anything. But if we look at the details and the styling, I mean, right off the bat, you'll see that the Acura just has a totally different vibe than the Civic. You know, much more premium, much more kind of these very hard character lines, right? And that really follows Acura's design language, right? They have these alluring surfaces. And while you do have LED lights like the Civic Type R, you get Acura's signature daytime running lamp, that chicane DRL, and their jewel eye LED lights. And well, let's just look at the grille because again, that's completely different than what you're gonna see on the Civic Type R. This open surface diamond pentagon grille with that Type S badging truly makes Integra Type S stand out. And just like Type R, you got some great openings down below for improved airflow and cooling that also houses the front mount intercooler because yes, we all know the two cars share the same powertrain. Now, there's differences, right? But just like the Civic Type R, you've got this heat extractor in the hood, and below it, just like the Type R, you have a version. Now, on the Type R, it's the K20C1. And on the Integra Type S, it's the K20C8. It's actually different. 320 horsepower here, but still the same 310 pound-feet of torque, made it solely to a 6-speed manual transmission. So again, these cars have the best security systems in the business, right? If you don't know how to drive a manual, you gotta go elsewhere. So with that, let's flip the cars around and we'll take a look at the rear. All right, we got the cars flipped around and now we're at the rear. So let's start with the Civic Type R again, okay? So clearly it's a much different design than the Integra Type S. Based off the 11th gen Civic 5-door, it has, these kind of C tail lights, kind of iconic to Civic, carries through. You got this, extra brake lamp here that's nice. Again, that signature red Honda badge, the black Civic lettering and the black Type R lettering. I really like that. It stands out, and on this Boost Blue, it really pops. Now, with it being a true 5-door hatchback, right? That's what I want to call out is, this car is significantly shorter than the Integra Type S. It's probably 6 to 7 inches shorter, which is quite a big difference, right? So it really gives you that feeling where the end just kind of drops off, right? Gives it that kind of stubby hatchback look. Integra Type S, when we get to that, you'll notice it's got much more of a sedan, fastback profile, right? It truly is a 5-door liftback, right? Now, with the Civic Type R, we've got this monstrous wing here. And you had that on the FK8 too. Now, on the FK8 version, these staunches were body color. They were like, actually looked like they were a part of the car, as was the wing itself. On the FL5, the actual spoiler is black, as are these aluminum anodized stanchions here. So tell us in the comments below, do you like the FK8 style or do you like this new FL5 style? I mean, this is much more GT racer style wing. Some people like it, some people don't. Let us know in the comments. Other thing to really kind of point out the difference between the two cars is the Civic has a rear wiper. The Integra doesn't. So that's also a big difference. But down below, the star of the show is this triple exhaust outlet. And you'll see a pretty big difference here, not only in the shape of the rear diffuser area down low, but also the shape and size of the exhaust are extremely different between the two cars, as is the sound. So on the Civic Type R, you've got one large central exhaust outlet and two smaller ones flanking it on both sides. There is an active exhaust valve. Some people kind of mistakenly said there isn't, that's why it sounds different. No, there is one, and it is in that center pipe area. But admittedly, you don't get some of the flare and the burbles and pops and crackles that you get with the Integra Type S. So a pretty clean design. Let us know what you think, but let's go check out the Integra Type S next. And here we are at the rear of the Integra Type S, which again is quite different in person from the Civic Type R due to that added length. Like I said, it's about 6, almost 7 inches longer. So it truly is a sedan with this liftback profile. And you get the 60/40 rear folding seats just like the Civic Type R. I mean, both cars have roughly 24, 25 cubic feet of space in the rear with the seats up. Now, that's small CUV category right there. So you get lots of usability. And of course, if you fold the seats down, you get even more space. So can't beat the usability. But, out in the back, my car, I have the accessory carbon fiber rear deck lid spoiler. I think it looks great, that's why I chose it. Although the standard rear deck lid spoiler and gloss black also looks really good. I just wanted to go with the CFRP version, and it's this kind of gloss finish, looks awesome. We got Type S badging, Integra, embossed into the rear fascia, just like the front, the Acura logo, and down below, those massive triple exhaust outlets, which, like we were talking about with Civic Type R, is a unique exhaust design. Not only are the finishers larger across the board, they're all one same size, but you get that active exhaust valve in the center, just like Civic Type R. But what's different is at the front of the exhaust system, closer to the engine, we actually removed a chamber, right? One of the resonators that's on the Civic Type R that they had to adhere to for other country regulations, we were able to take that out for Integra Type S, and that combined with some nice specific engine software tuning gave us those pops and bangs and that unique exhaust sound. So now that we've covered the rears of both cars, let's go ahead, hop in real quick, talk about the interior differences next. All right, we're inside the 2024 Acura Integra Type S, and it's a pretty nice place to be. There's a lot of premium touch points that not only make it stand out from the A-Spec version, but of course the Civic brother over there. So let's first talk about all the details. Now, again, like I said, this one is my personal car. I went with the red interior. I love red. The white on red, that's kind of classic Acura, classic Honda Acura, so I really like that color combo. But you know, the thing about it is the Type S actually has specific seats and bolstering. It's a little bit more aggressive. That's what's in the A-Spec seats. You get this nice black Alcantara that goes all the way down. It's perforated with color match behind. So there's a little perforations you can see through and see the red. Looks really, really nice. And of course, being Type S, you got the Type S in the headrest. So for me, I'm focusing on the seats right off the bat because that is, for me, probably the biggest difference between these two cars. Now, we'll hop in the Civic Type R, we'll take a look at those, but man, those bucket seats, while they're great for, you know, circuit driving and hitting the switchbacks, they are pretty bolstered. So for everyday driving, I'm rolling with these seats. They have just enough bolstering and they look great too. But inside, some specific details, you know, this part is colored matched to the interior on Type S. In fact, I see you guys out there, there's a lot of A-Spec owners that are going out and switching this to match. So, hey, that's cool. You know, we all want some nice interiors. For my car, I went with the optional Alcantara steering wheel here. Still says Type S, has the red stitching inside. Oh man, it feels so good. And I know there's some people that are like, oh, it's like a bath mat, right? And I don't want to keep it. And, you know, but hey, I don't daily drive my car and I think I'll be able to keep it in nice condition. So I still kept the standard leather perforated steering wheel just in case though. So really, really awesome steering wheel, gives it a premium feel. 6-speed manual, the only transmission option. Type S has a specific shift knob and shift boot, which is also suede with the contrast stitching, and Type S embossed here around the shifter boot. We have our drive modes here. You get Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and an individual drive mode. And we'll talk about that because for me, that's the one I use all the time is the individual mode. We have a nice wireless charging pad here, USB A and C, which that's a difference from Type R. We'll talk about that. Similar HVAC, believe me, we don't need to point all that out. There's obviously some commonality between the two cars, but I think when you pop back and forth between the two cars, the differences actually stand out. I mean, this dash looks different. You don't have that same honeycomb mesh that kind of carries across the entire dash. There's some extra layers and design here that I think, you know, again, I'm not being biased here. I think there really is enough difference where it just kind of looks and feels different. Of course, you got the 16-speaker ELS Studio 3D sound system in the Type S, where the Type R, you've only got the 12-speaker Bose system. So pluses and minuses to each car, differences in features. You know, for example, on the Integra Type S, we got a 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster, customizable, but we don't get the kind of crazy race gauge that the Type R gets, nor do you get that crazy LED digital light. That is also, you know, kind of Type R specific, and quite frankly, again, you know, this car isn't a race car, right? It's more about daily drivability, so I'm totally okay with that. You do get the same 9-inch color touchscreen with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. The Acura version has different icons and features, which is nice, but again, for me, as long as I got CarPlay and Android Auto, I'm good. Up top, just like Type R, there's no sunroof. Again, for some people, it's no big deal at all. For some, it's a deal breaker. So I get it. Let us know in the comments what you think. Honestly, I like a sunroof, but after driving the car without it, you're so focused on driving and everything else that for me, I'll live without it. So lastly, you know, again, I have a couple accessories on my car if you point them out. So I got the Type S premium floor mats. Those look really nice. And the Type S illuminated side sills. So those are at all 4 doors. Again, that's really awesome at night as that lights up. So that's kind of the high level in the front of the Integra Type S. We'll quickly peek in back and then shoot over to the Civic Type R. All right, so here we are. We're in the rear of the Integra Type S. Now, I'm actually sitting right behind my own driving position. And yeah, I got plenty of knee room, even headroom. I know there's some people, I mean, again, for reference, I'm about 5'10". I'm sure if you're 6 foot or over, yeah, you will probably be pretty close to the roof here. But for me, I'm pretty comfortable. I got great leg room. I think it's a good tandem distance. And for me, yeah, it's pretty comfortable. You know, you got these fixed headrests here. They don't adjust up and down, but honestly, they're in a good position. You got all the red leather here in the back because that's the color combo. And again, you got the premium accessory floor mats. Now, let us know what you think in the comments. Obviously, there's a lot of people are going, wait, we don't have the rear vents back here. We don't have connectivity. Let us know if that's a deal breaker, if you actually want that stuff. Just like Type R, which we'll hop into in a second, the Integra Type S is actually only a 4-seater vehicle. So we know the A-Spec and the other trims are 5-passenger vehicles. So again, if that's critical for you, this may be a deal breaker. But for me, hey, the material's still good. We lost the center armrest. Let us know your thoughts there. We have the cup holders down here though, and it's a pretty high quality piece. So again, you can have your 2 cup holders down here. But given what the purpose of this car is, I mean, honestly, I'll put my kid in the back. Sometimes there's, you know, child latches here. You can have a child seat in the back. You know, there's a lot of space back here for getting around. So I think for what the car serves, you know, having this much functionality in a sporty car like this is kind of rarity. So this is the rear. We're gonna hop out and now go check out the Civic Type R. All right, we're inside the 2023 Honda Civic Type R. And it is a pretty cool place to be. And like I said, I mean, the first thing, there's just no escaping it, is the seats. They are so aggressive. I mean, again, we were just in the Integra Type S, right? We checked out the interior there. I mean, and like I said in that little clip, the seats are the biggest difference. Now, not always in a bad way, in many ways a good way. I mean, these seats are probably some of the best bucket seats on the market, bar none. They're that good. They're that good in the bolstering, I think in the styling and the design, and the materials, right? I mean, you wouldn't think that this is in a Honda Civic. I mean, these could go in a supercar, honestly. They're that good. You gotta love the Type R that's embossed into the headrest too, but they are only red. And just like the carpet and the floor mats on Type R, it's only red. So I hope you like red because there's a lot of it in here. But it is tastefully done. I mean, even the seat belts are red in the Civic Type R. So it's just a different vibe than sitting in the Integra Type S. You do get the signature, you know, Honda red H badge. That looks awesome. Now you get a full leather with contrast stitching steering wheel. On the Integra Type S, it's leather with perforations from 9 and 3 down. So it is a different steering wheel than what's in the Civic Type R. And then I had the Alcantara version in my specific Integra Type S. The dash, you know, again, at first glance you go, okay, yeah, there's some similarities to Integra Type S, but I think once you really start looking at the details, you'll notice they're quite different. Like this whole piece here is different in Integra. This whole honeycomb mesh that carries over is different than Integra. This piece here, this kind of aluminum finish, which is really nice, again, is different than Integra. You don't have that kind of piece that carries down. So it's a different design. Are there similarities? Of course, right? They did that for development efficiency. You got, you know, similar HVAC controls, the knobs here. You got the wireless charging pad. Like I said, you know, one difference is in the Integra Type S, you actually had an A for the data and then a C for the charging. In the Type R, they're both A's. So I guess you need a different adapter if you got a new iPhone, right? But also you do have a 12-volt socket, just like Integra Type S. 6-speed manual transmission is the only way to go, only transmission available. Now you'll notice here the you know, kind of aluminum shift knob and the shape, totally different than Type S. Shift boot, also different. Now similar, you do have these drive modes, but again, there's some differences here too, because Civic Type R has a specific Plus R driving mode, right? And admittedly, I think I said this in one of the drives that I did with this car. It's great, but it's a bit much. It's, you know, the suspension gets really taut. Steering's heavy in a good way, but also probably too much for a daily driving kind of scenario. So, you know, Plus R is kind of a very specific use case. But what's awesome, and just like the Integra Type S, is we now have an individual drive mode, which the FK8, the previous gen Type R, didn't have that. So you guys, you FK8 owners, you know, let us know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on that? For me, I think it's a game changer for Type R, because now you can have comfort suspension. You know, my setting was that with the sports steering and the Plus R engine and the Plus R gauge, because admittedly in Type R it is pretty sweet, that kind of almost S2000 like racing gauge. I think that's an awesome setup, and I think that is what truly changes this car from FK8. You got that nice 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster, different graphics and design from Integra. You do get the race lights in this car, which are pretty cool. They kind of come in at you both sides and stuff. And so admittedly, given the vibe of this car, the fact that it's kind of more of a track, race car, it fits the personality. So I like it. You still get this 9-inch color touchscreen, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, just like Integra. But like I said, you get the Bose system, which is good. 12-speaker sound system, nothing to complain about. But obviously, with the extra money and the cost of the Integra Type S, the sound system is one of the things that really stands out. And I love audio, so for me, that's a big deal. That 16-speaker ELS Studio 3D sound system is fantastic. But other than that, hey, this is a really nice place to be. Would have no complaints owning this car. Let's hop in the back, though, and check that out. All right, here we are in the back of the Civic Type R. Again, there's some similarities to Integra, but honestly, there's probably just as many differences, if not more. I mean, clearly in this one, you're looking forward at those, amazing bucket seats. And it's really cool. At the top of the seat backs here, it actually says Type R embossed into both the driver and passenger. It's a really nice touch. It almost has like this kind of brushed finish to it. So that looks pretty premium, looks cool. I mean, obviously, if you were really hardcore and you had some kind of, roll cage set up and, had, 5-point seat belts, that could go through these holes here. I think that's a bit extreme, but they definitely look cool sitting from here in the back. But admittedly, everything is black in the rear, and that's true no matter, again, what exterior color you get in Type R. Front seats are red, carpets are red, floor mats are red, back seats are black. That's always the interior in Type R. So again, that is one of the nice things about Integra, is that there's different interior variations. There's the orchid, the ebony, and the red. So you get a little bit more color in the rear. Here it's black. It's kind of a fabric material, where the Integra is a leatherette. So again, feels a little bit more premium. You do get contrast stitching, the red stitching throughout, which is really nice. On the doors, you get a little bit more premium, kind of like a suede-like material. Also with some contrast stitching here on the doors. But other than that, it's kind of a similar place to be. Again, it's a four-passenger vehicle, just like Integra Type S. You do not have a center armrest, and you do have the cup holders here. So that is some similarities, which again means you don't even have a center headrest if you even wanted to sit there. But again, from where I'm sitting, that's my driver's position, which is probably even a little bit closer for some reason than in the Integra Type S. I feel like in this car, it feels like such a race car. You want to be really close up on the wheel for some reason. So I feel like I got even more legroom, honestly, than I did in the Integra. And I'll be honest, I think there's probably even a little bit more headroom as well. So it's negligible, but it does feel pretty spacious back here, which again, considering for both cars that they're essentially sports cars, right? Like, these cars can set awesome lap times at any track. They're great performance vehicles, but you can have people sit in the back and like not complain. And again, you got child latches, so you can put your kids back here. So all things considered, I think this is a pretty good place to be. And so with that, we'll hop out and wrap things up on this video. All right, guys, thanks for watching today. We had a lot of fun talking about both cars. We got the 2023 Honda Civic Type R and the 2024 Acura Integra Type S. There's a lot of similarities, but I think there's far more differences that truly make these cars unique and stand out. And well, we just want to hear what you guys think. So be sure to comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Which one are you taking? Obviously, I've made my choice, but that's not because the Civic Type R isn't a great car. Honestly, for me, I don't even think there's so much as which one is better. It really fits like what the buyer wants, what type of car they're looking for. Clearly, the Integra Type S has a lot more amenities, a little bit more of a daily driver focus, but if that's not your thing and you're just trying to tear up the streets and the switchbacks, hey, Civic Type R is definitely an awesome option of the two. Now, separately, we're gonna have videos that include drive impressions and footage for both cars, so be sure to check out those links on our channel. If you're new, thanks for joining us. Give us more feedback, and be sure to subscribe to learn more and hear more about what we do at Drive Culture.
Don't